Welcome to our last Massachusetts Pirate Party News of the Year, 2025. We hardly knew ya. We're on to 2026, which will soon give us another public domain day, but we'll talk about that in the following Pirate News. I'm joined today by Steve. How are you, Steve?
Things are well. Thank you, Jamie.
I'm glad to hear it. We hope you all have happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and all of that. And may you have time in the end of this year with your family and not working. You know, I think we can all get behind that. Taking a break is an important thing that everyone should have. Unfortunately, we're not Europe where they get 4 to 8 weeks a year of vacation, so we don't even get 2 weeks legally, and all of our parental paid time, all of our parental time off is unpaid. So, yay, joy capitalism. Okay, so
Making America great again. Sorry, I just couldn't help that. I don't know if this is actually was an actual quote, because you read it on the internet. Who knows? But it's attributed to Robin Williams, and he's talking about Canada, and he refers to them as a really nice apartment right above a meth lab. And I just thought that's just such beautiful imagery. Anyway, I digress. I'm sorry.
And with that, so we have 2 topics to discuss today. The first is, as you can see here, a bipartisan group of senators have decided that they want to sunset Section 230. For those of you who don't know, we all have freedom of speech and the ability to say what we want and what we believe. But Section 230 means that if you're on a chat group or you're on Facebook and you say something that someone objects to or has some form of liability, it is not the platform that has to shoulder that liability. It is, in fact, the person who said the thing that people don't like. And so what this means is that there's not an incentive for a platform to go and police its police speech of the people that are on there, or have the lawyers out and say, oh, you posted this thing that could maybe get us into some trouble, so we're just going to shut you down and close your account or not let you say those things. And so for the children, these group of bipartisan senators want to sunset Section 230 until the various tech companies that they are upset about and feel are making the lives of children bad come to them with a better approach. So basically you're telling the Facebooks and X's and Facebook owns Instagram, I guess TikTok, right? And LinkedIn.
And so no. TikTok is going to Oracle because, an enterprise software company that specializes in shaking corporate customers down for licensing things. That is just what the users of TikTok need. But please continue.
I was just thinking, like what is a social media company that is separate from Meta, right? You got they got Facebook, they've got WhatsApp, they've got Instagram. Who the heck knows what else they're going to buy?
Mm-hmm.
And so, these companies have the potential, or probably have lots of lawyers, that if someone said something on their site, they could go and if someone objected to that and then sued them over it, sued Facebook, for example, Facebook would trot out their lawyers and they'd be able to fight it without Section 230. And it might cost them $5 million to do it, but that's a drop in the bucket for them. But if someone's just running their own site and someone sues them, if they want to fight it, they don't have $5 million. So they'll just shut their site down. And that, even though, what the person said that the suit is about, they could have said something that was completely fine by the First Amendment, but even just bringing in the suit means that smaller companies, individuals who run their own Mastodon site or something like that, are going to get these takedowns, are going to get these suits, and they won't have to fight them. So they're basically just going to shut down, even though they've done nothing wrong, but allowed other people, provided a platform in which people can speak. And so with Section 230, it protects the First Amendment. It makes sure that if these things go to court, there is a very expeditious way of someone challenging the platform challenging this suit and say, well, no, Section 230 protects us. Go after the person who said the thing you don't like. Don't come after us. But again, these bipartisan senators, man, whenever they say bipartisan, I always got to look at my wallet and check that there's not a knife in my back, because whenever they get together, it's seldom a good thing. And yeah, go on, Steve.
Yeah, I'd like to explain it a little differently. So I want to make the distinction between who is a publisher. So if you think of publishers in the traditional sense, like a magazine or a newspaper, they generally have some sort of responsibility for the thing that they are publishing. Now, what Section 230 does is it basically says, internet hosting providers, or, companies that host and serve content generated by people, whether it's a social media site or you've got your own little blog or whatever, and you're hosted on WordPress or GoDaddy or whatever. They're not publishers. They're just they're producing your web page, your blog, whatever. But if someone has issue with something you've written, they have to go after you. Now, taking away Section 30 would allow them to go after the hosting provider. As Jamie said, and the question: will the hosting provider, given the choice between fighting a lawsuit on your behalf or ditching you, financially, they're probably going to ditch you. One of the things that I think is incredibly short-sighted about this is that there should be a bipartisan interest in keeping Section 230 alive, or keeping Section 230 around. If for example, anyone who hosts stuff at where you do not own the data center, for example, if you have a website hosted on Amazon, your website's hosted by AWS or Azure, one of the big cloud providers, and somebody has a beef, now they just go to the big cloud provider and see if the cloud provider will shut you off. I see this escalating as a very quick rate, would escalate pretty quickly as a race to the bottom. And to the extent that the only people who will be hosting are the people who know how to, will be running websites, people who know how to host their own servers and such. Now, will people go after data centers where servers are hosted? Who knows? But that's not really. I don't think that's really out of the realm of possibility. Section 2, the internet as we know it exists because of Section 230, and it's kind of been a bogey person for some contingents within Congress. Again, there's bipartisanship to the bogey personisms, but it is actually a public good. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you for that explanation, Steve. So, by the way, this article comes to us from TechDirt, techdirt.com. Also, I found out about a shout out to our friends at Fight for the Future for mentioning this on social media as well. They're going to have their bill, and a lot of times these bills go nowhere, but we don't know if that's going to be the case this time. And I think it's really important that we not give, when you look at Trump, he's suing the BBC, he's sued the New York Times, he's sued lots of other companies in an effort to shake them down for money. He sued Facebook for that matter. If Section 230 goes away and someone says something that the current president of the United States does not like, does that mean he's going to just gin up his lawyers and come after whomever is hosting it, or have them, as Steve said, taken down? I mean, that it could be your hosting provider, it could be your domain if you own a domain, it could be your CDN if you have a CDN. I mean, there's so many different ways your speech can be taken down because we don't currently have a system aside from, BitTorrent, for example, interplanetary file system, but those aren't well integrated into the whole internet system that we use, right? So if you post something there, maybe it won't get taken down in IPFS, but that doesn't mean people are going to see it, unfortunately, at this stage. So over time, as we build out the technology, we build out these alternative centralized platforms, we'll see more of that. But we still have this points of failure of the DNS system, and we've seen that as the Justice Department goes after and takes away domains that they accuse of piracy. So, any other thoughts before we move on, Steve?
No, there's write your Congress critters. Section 30 is something we want to keep around. Section 230 is something we want to keep around.
Absolutely, and especially COSA is another part of this whole attack on the internet, and Senator Elizabeth Warren supports it. I don't know why, but because that's just going to go. Red states are going to use that to make sure that our youth can't see LGBTQ plus material. That's illegal, and I don't know why she's supporting that. And so we got to make sure our senators and Congress critters, as Steve said, don't support this. Now, we've mentioned in the past, we keep track of things, what the Trump administration's doing as best we can, whatever we've seen. So this piece comes to us through that. This comes from the Cato Institute. And they point out that the Department of Justice has disseminated a memorandum to all federal prosecutors that they can now say that if someone records ICE or Customs and Border Patrol detaining, disappearing, grabbing people who they accuse of being here without the proper documentation, that is violence and covers under the uh, that they're just recording what these agents are doing can be considered violence, can be considered terrorism, and can be used to detain folks and arrest them. Um, it stretches the concept of violence beyond all recognition. And I'll just point out, in Massachusetts, you have the legal right to record um, any government official going and carrying out their duty, whether that's local police, state troopers, federal agents, whatever. Doesn't matter. Your thoughts,
Yeah,
Steve?
yeah. I mean, the the question of can you film things like police officers conducting an arrest? If my memory serves me correctly, it kind of originated with, it sort of became a thing when smartphones got the ability to record video. Think of one of the places where this was done a lot back in the day, 2011, was, like the Occupy Wall Street protests and the ensuing police crackdowns. Now, the actual right to record, I believe it came, I can't recall the name of the decision, but it was the First Circuit Court of Appeals here in the Boston area that said, yes, you do have the right to record a public official in the course of doing their public duties. Now, Massachusetts also has a wiretap act, so you cannot do this secretly, but you can open trying to phrase open recording in the same way as open carry, but it didn't quite work out. But that, as long as you're recording them openly and you're not making a secret about it, you can do this. It is a constitutionally protected First Amendment right. Now, DHS or ICE or what they're doing is, I would classify it as just an effort to intimidate members of the public. I'm sure their lawyers realize that, recording public officials in the course of their public duties, no matter how bullshit those duties are, is a constitutionally protected First Amendment right. And they are, there's law enforcement can lie to people. And I think this is just strictly an intimidation tactic. And the Cato Institute article cites a couple of cases where this sort of thing has gone to court and it's been thrown out. So they're trying to rough you up. They're trying to make you make your life miserable. But you can observe, you can record. Jamie?
Yeah, just don't get in their way.
Mm-hmm.
And be respectful, but you have a First Amendment right to record what they're doing in public, just as Steve said, make it obvious.
You can be firm about that.
Absolutely. And we love the First Amendment, so use it or lose it. Yeah, I mean, it's just, this administration keeps wanting to push things and push things and push things, and it's just up for us to push back as best we can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the amount of money that they have recently given to ICE is awful. But even still, like, man, there were more brown shirts per in Nazi Germany per person than there are ICE and Customs and Border and other federal officials. So ultimately there's only so much they can do. But that doesn't, if you're on the long end of their truncheon or worse, then it's not a good place to be. So support one another as best you can. record things and resist as well as you're able. And we will get through this together. Hopefully, most of us. So with that, thank you very much again. Happy holidays. We hope you have a joyous and relaxing week till we come to our fine end of New Year. But we shall rejoice once that January 1st is here, for we shall have new movies and books and recordings and music that have been freed from the clutches of corporate commercialism and will now be in the public domain. So we will talk more about that.
You know what will make 2026 absolutely amazing and wonderful? Another slasher movie about Mickey Mouse. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing is what Disney stuff, what old Disney stuff is going to be in the public domain. Because now anyone will be able to watch it anywhere. You'll be able to play with it. You'll be able to incorporate it in bits and pieces of it into your own works. And it's just sort of, there's a nostalgic and cool element to it.
And also, Betty Boop is coming into the public domain. Although there's questions as to whether she was already in the public domain. But this one I liked, harkening back to reading to my kids, The Little Engine That Could.
Oh yeah.
I could see a bunch of good, not wholesome stuff you could do with that. so with that, take care. We hope you enjoyed this. Give us a comment or all the other stuff if you found this helpful. And if you're interested in helping us to make this, we'd like to make more during 2026 as we encourage people to run for office, seeing that it's state elections and federal elections and many town elections in the first half of the year. Reach out to us, massparrots.org. And with that, adieu or a don't. Bye.